I have just received a copy of the updated Las Vegas odds for WrestleMania 41.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go through these. It's not every match. It's, I think, 10 or 11 of the most prevalent matches. There are now official odds on who's going to win each one of these matches. And we'll kind of go through them first, and then I'll bring it together with some discussion, all right?
All right.
So let's start off with, right now, I'll have you guess. Jacob Fatu and LA Knight, who do you think is the favorite to win that match right now according to Vegas odds?
LA Knight?
No, Jacob Fatu is a minus 700, which minus
it's
always
good.
is the better end of a betting thing. LA Knight is plus 400, so that's a pretty big gap, calling for that they think that title is going to change. I said I didn't know with all the other title changes if it would change here, but interesting enough, I like this. I like where Vegas's head is at on this. In Dominic Mysterio versus Penta versus Braun Breaker versus Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio has minus 175 odds to win the match.
Okay.
After that, they go Penta at plus 150.
Mm-hmm.
They have Braun Breaker at plus 350. So pretty confident Braun Breaker's not walking out as a champion.
Damn.
And then they have Finn Balor as the heavy underdog at plus 600 odds.
Uh-huh.
So pretty much no chance Finn Balor's walking out of that thing with the championship. But Dominic Mysterio, interesting, because I still feel like deep down inside they could be leaning towards Penta. At plus 150, that's a pretty good bet.
Mm-hmm.
With Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, this one surprised me. They have Drew McIntyre as the favorite at minus 1,500.
I like it.
That is just almost like they have this locked in.
Mm-hmm.
They have Damian Priest at plus 600. That is one I would jump on.
I told you I thought that he was going to win.
Who?
Not Damian, but Drew.
You thought Drew?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, but it's street fight. I could see a lot of things happening. Plus 600 for Damian Priest is interesting. I don't know what they're seeing that I'm not seeing, but I don't have it. That's one of those for me. That's a pick 'em.
How many times does Vegas get it right?
Not always. They're not always right.
For wrestling, especially?
Just in general. I mean, Vegas is pretty, they tend to be right because they don't want to lose money, but they're not always right. And wrestling's interesting. We'll talk about that after we get through these. Rey Mysterio is the favorite at minus 150 over El Grande Americano at plus 110. When I first saw this, I thought that seems weird because I would think that Rey Mysterio would be the heavy favorite. The fact that after Monday Night Raw tonight, we did not get a mask versus mask match leads me to believe we're not done with El Grande Americano at WrestleMania. This is gonna go forward, and later maybe at Backlash we get a mask versus mask match. But I think now looking at this, El Grande Americano is my favorite to win that match. I think the groundswell, and they know they can get a good bad guy out of this. I believe that's why this is so close at minus 150 and plus 110. Logan Paul is a minus 250 to AJ Styles plus 175.
So they think that
Logan.
Okay.
Which I think is a pretty solid
I
choice.
I
chose
Logan.
I don't see why Logan would lose this match other than he'd be done with wrestling. But AJ Styles doesn't need to be put over by a young star like Logan Knight. So it feels like this is set up
luxurious
for Logan.
Hair. AJ Styles.
You talk about his hair a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Jade Cargill, heavy favorite, minus 600 against Naomi, who's plus 350.
Mm-hmm.
I think, we've all kind of assumed that's what it is. I'd love for Naomi to win this match, but I tend to side with the heels in these stories anyway. But that feels pretty in line. This one's interesting, though. This next one. Charlotte Flair, according to Las Vegas, is still a slight favorite to win against Tiffany Stratton at minus 130, but Tiffany Stratton's a minus 110. This is a pick'em.
What does that mean?
That Vegas, minus 130 and minus 110. Basically, the slight favorite is Charlotte, but they're saying we're not going to give you money on either of these.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Anytime the odds are minus, you're not making real good money. You have to bet a lot to make a lot.
All right.
Then we go to the Triple Threat Women's World Championship match.
Threat.
Bianca Belair right now is the slight favorite at minus 105. So my guy Dead Chef, who keeps reassuring me that Bianca Belair, that's the only thing that makes sense is for Bianca to win this match, for her to keep her WrestleMania streak alive. She's at minus 105. After that, they have Io Sky at plus 120, and they have Rhea Ripley at plus 200. I would take that Io Sky bet. I still feel like that they're telling the story so that Bianca and Rhea can get intertangled in something, and Io Sky will come out on top, and then Rhea and Bianca will continue their story without a title. I still think that's what's going to happen, but maybe I'm wrong.
All right.
Jey Uso, no surprise here. Heavy favorite at minus 600 to dethrone Gunther at plus 350 and capture the World Heavyweight Championship. I think that's pretty much universally thought of as a lock in the world. CM Punk is the favorite at minus 190 to win the Saturday night main event against Seth Rollins at plus 175 and Roman Reigns at plus 250. Very interesting is that they are going to put the wagon on CM Punk, seemingly according to Vegas. I'm not going to reveal all my spoilers yet, but I think I'm leaning Seth Rollins in this match.
Okay.
I just feel like this match has deeper implications, and what Seth Rollins said tonight on Monday Night Raw cooked. He is the guy. He didn't take his ball and go home, and he doesn't just show up when he wants to. He's the guy who's there night after night.
All right.
Maybe that was a misleading statement. And then this one surprises me the most. Las Vegas has John Cena as a minus 210 favorite to defeat Cody Rhodes in the main event of WrestleMania.
I'm not going to lie. I'm still so confused by the odds numbers. It confuses me so much. But that means that they think he's going to win, right?
Yes, John Cena is the favorite. And when the number is a minus.
Minus is good.
Yeah, I believe it's for like every $100 you bet, it plays out a certain way. You can win 160.
All right.
Versus 210, you have to bet $210 to win $100.
Okay.
That's, I believe, someone can correct me if I'm wrong. That was how it was explained to me in the Discord at one time.
Okay.
But all right, so let's have a little conversation about this. First question I have for you: how does Vegas set these lines?
That's what I was literally just thinking, because like, how do they know? Do they do it by like popularity of what they think people like, and so then they assume that like they're gonna go with who's popular?
Yeah, or because it can't be inside information. That would be illegal. If they had inside sources, like if they had a janitor that was like sweeping the floors while they're discussing WrestleMania matches, that's not okay. It's funny to me because in real sports it makes sense. They can play the odds, right? Yeah, this guy throws for this number of yards against this team. There's formulas to get it right. But in wrestling, number one, it can change 5 minutes before they get out there. They can go, all right, hold on, let's change this finish. Number two, like you said, there's not a clear path in any match. We can go, like we can talk about Rey Mysterio and El Grande Americano. We can go, this is the favorite, but that means nothing because WWE has a tendency that when something becomes almost too obvious,
they say nope.
Well, no, yeah, then we're going to go the other way and we'll figure out how to make that work. So to me, it is insane that Las Vegas, first off, that there's betting odds and that there's places you can actually bet on these matches. And secondly, it's just where I don't want to start conspiracies, but yeah, do they have inside information? Are they getting fed information from somebody in the company who's not official, right? Like maybe they're just talking to like, I'm not going to use the real name because you'd hate to like create allegations, right? But let's just say
Robert Van Dykerson.
Yeah, Robert Van Dykerson, the third. He's the 40th guy on the roster. He doesn't get out there much, but he keeps his ear to the door. Mm-hmm. Is he feeding them information? Like, last I heard, John Cena's winning this match.
But also, I think like for the Bianca Belair thing, like you mentioned, we know that WWE likes records, so they take that stuff into consideration. Does this person have any records? Things like that.
But they haven't brought it up once.
well, maybe it's like, surprise.
Yeah, but that's not. So you just said WWE likes records. Usually they will tout Bianca's undefeated, Bianca's undefeated, Bianca's undefeated. Oh my God, this is a storyline within the story. They have not even made mention of it because I told you, I still believe that they may be going with the idea if Bianca doesn't get pinned, well, that's not a loss.
True.
That's what I still think they're going to try and spin that as later down the line.
True.
That Bianca's never been pinned at WrestleMania. They're okay with her taking a loss. They're just going to start saying, well, Bianca's never been pinned at WrestleMania.
True.
And so that, to me, once again, lends itself to an EO Sky.
I mean, I literally have no idea. So are we going to bet some money?
I'm not. I don't think we can't bet in Texas on this.
Oh,
stuff.
just kidding.
We can only do prop bets. So which of these then feels like the trap? If you're looking at these odds, like to me, the Drew McIntyre thing feels like a trap at minus 1,500.
That means that they think Drew is going to win, or they don't think.
They have Drew as the favorite. But I don't think the gap is that big. I believe there's a world. They've been framing Damian Priest as the Street King, and now it's a Vegas or Sin City street fight.
So, like, is it if I vote for Damian Priest and he wins, I win a lot of money?
Yeah.
And so they're hoping everybody puts all their money into Drew McIntyre and he loses.
So I don't know.
Right?
I don't necessarily know if they hope, right? I think that. Well, they don't hope Drew McIntyre loses. They're counting on the fact that Drew McIntyre is going to win. Okay. And so they're saying the safer bet is to bet on Drew McIntyre. You have to bet a lot more money to make a little bit of money on Drew McIntyre because he's the favorite. If you bet on Damian Priest and you bet $100, then you win. What is he? Plus 600. So you'd win $1,600.
Okay. All right.
Or no, you $160. Wait.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say,
The math's not math.
All right.
Someone will explain it to us.
Yeah.
Though. That feels like one. I think the Rey Mysterio match could be a trap that people fall into if you're betting on this thing.
Is it a big thing to bet?
I don't know. I wonder how big the betting market is in wrestling. I use this typically just as a measure to kind of build confidence in my predictions. I don't 100% go with it, but like when I look at certain things and I kind of felt like Dominic Mysterio was due to win. Mm-hmm. And then I see him favorited in the odds. I go, okay, my radar is correct on that one. But then like with a Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest, I see such a big divide and I try to look back and go, well, what did I miss? What in this story did I miss that Vegas thinks Drew McIntyre not only is winning, but that the gap is so wide?
Yeah, for
when
sure.
When the gap is like El Grande Americano and Rey Mysterio.
Or like Charlotte and what's her name?
Or Charlotte and Tiffy, right? I've gone on record saying I think Charlotte's winning.
I'm Team Tiffy.
I'm Team Tiffy. Don't get me wrong. So there's a difference in like
who
I want to win versus who the logistics say I think should win. And I think Charlotte should win because I think that's more beneficial to Tiffy down the road.
All right. I like it.
So the last thing I'd say is, you kind of touched on this. What do these odds tell us about like fandom? Mm-hmm. Are they when Jacob Fatu is the heavy favorite, do we pull the weight from that and say like that means Vegas believes that Jacob Fatu is more coveted by the fans than LA Knight? Because I don't think that's necessarily true. I see them very balanced. I still, like, that's one I talk about. I don't think Jacob Fatu's going to beat LA Knight. I think he's going to get disqualified or something. Too many title changes. There's too many title changes being predicted.
It's a lot.
I mean, they're predicting Jey Uso, Charlotte Flair, Jacob Fatu, John Cena. If you listen to Vegas... Yeah, that's what I meant. That's what Charlotte. If you listen to Vegas, they have almost every title changing hands. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely Dominic Mysterio. I think Vegas, if we go back and look at this,
are we going to be like?
I think they have Jacob Fatu. That's a title change. Yeah. They have Dominic Mysterio. That's a title change. Charlotte? They have Charlotte, that's a title change. They have Bianca Belair, that's a title change. They have Jey Uso, that's a title change. And they have John Cena. Vegas is predicting all they're predicting all title changes. So you know that's wrong.
What we literally said is like virtually impossible.
Yeah, you know that's wrong. That's not happening. Yeah. So that's crazy. That's Vegas having to hedge and not knowing which one isn't going to live up to what they think it is. That's crazy.
Very true. True.
All right, Lauren.